This one was fun to make. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about Mike Tomlin's closest calls with a losing season. What's up, everyone? It's Riverside. Let's get right into the video. We start off with the most recent time in 2023 when the Steelers were 7-7 with 3 games remaining. They needed to win 2 out of 3 to finish over 500. And that all hinges on the Week 15 loss to the Colts, a 30-13 loss to put them at 7-7. The Steelers had the lead 13-0 in this game. The Colts scored 30 unanswered points, and that was Mitchell Trubisky's last start as a Steeler, last start in the NFL, as a matter of fact, because the very next week, Mike Tomlin would turn to Mason Rudolph with his winning streak, his 500 streak on the line. And boy, did he deliver. Mason Rudolph leading the Steelers to a 34-11 win over the Cincinnati Bengals. To keep the Steelers alive in the playoff race and keep their 500 hopes alive, they just needed to win one of the next 2 now, which they would proceed to do as against the Seahawks. Mason Rudolph would lead the Steelers to a 30-23 win to secure that winning season, put them at 9-7. Najee Harris had one of his best games as a Steeler. And then the Steelers would win the next week as well to finish the season 10-7. So from not even knowing if you're going to be a 500 team to making the playoffs with a third-string quarterback, the 2023 season was one that I'll never forget. Which takes us to the year prior. This team was a disaster. 2-6 at the bye week in 2022, 5-8 entering Week 15 after a Week 14 loss to the Ravens, in which Mitchell Trubisky came in relief and threw 3 interceptions. Tyler Huntley was injured in this game. Anthony Brown beat the Steelers, guys. I mean, it doesn't get any more rock bottom than that. But the Steelers need to win their last 4 games here to have a winning season as they're 5-8. And it all starts with a Mitchell Trubisky start because Kenny Pickett is injured. Mitch gets it done. That was his last career win right there against the Panthers, 24-16 Steelers. Put the Steelers at 6-8. The following week, it's Christmas Eve. It's chilly out in Pittsburgh. The Steelers beat the Raiders 13-10. But it wasn't easy. The Steelers took their first lead of the game with under a minute left on Pickett to Pickens, one of the few times we saw that. And at this point, the Steelers were 7-8 with 2 weeks left, 2 wins away from a winning season. And they would get their revenge against the Ravens, a 16-13 win. Kenny Pickett came to play, game-winning touchdown throw to Najee Harris. And it all comes down to the final game to determine if Mike Tomlin will have a losing season. And in Week 18 versus the Browns, the Steelers record their biggest winning margin of the season, beating the Browns 28-14. A big game from Highsmith, 2.5 sacks. Hayward had 2 sacks. So from 5-8 to 9-8, that was the 2022 season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're going to stay in the 2020s here for this one. We're going to take it back to another year earlier, 2021. This team was 7-7-1 with 2 weeks left in the season. They needed to win one of 2 games. They decided they were going to win both. But to tell you how they got there, a 36-10 loss to the Chiefs on Christmas, in which the Steelers trailed 30-0 at one point, that's what put the Steelers at 7-7-1. And not much has changed since then, clearly, because the same thing happened this past Christmas against the Chiefs. Anyways, Week 17 versus the Browns. The Steelers need to win one of 2, as we mentioned. Big Ben's making his last home start. The Steelers get it done. Winning season secured, baby. Najee Harris, 188 yards on the ground. And that was all she wrote, as the Steelers would then win the final game of the regular season as well to finish 9-7-1. So Mike Tomlin gets it done once again, 7-7-1 to finish at 9-7-1. And with that, they would make the playoffs and lose to the Chiefs for the second time in 4 weeks. Now, to mention the 2019 season briefly, the Steelers did go 8-8. 3 games left in the season, though. They were 8-5, so they went lose to end the season. So moving on to 2013, the Steelers start 0-4, and they're 5-8 with 3 games left. They need to win their last 3 games. He needs to go on a 3-game winning streak to secure this winning season. And the reason they were in this position was a clip that you might be familiar with. The Antonio Brown game put the Steelers at 5-8 as Antonio Brown stepped out of bounds on what would have been a game-winning touchdown on a crazy lateral play. 34-28 Dolphins. Steelers fall to 5-8. The following week, an easy win over the Bengals, 30-20, 6-8. The week later, against the Packers, 38-31 Steelers to put them at 7-8. This was against Matt Flynn. Aaron Rodgers was injured. Matt Flynn put up a shootout against the Steelers. Wasn't enough, though, as the Steelers would now have to win their last game to finish 8-8. And they would do just that. It wasn't easy, though, as Big Ben threw 2 interceptions along the way, but the winning season was secured. Now back to 2012. A similar situation. The Steelers are 7-6, but they lose 2 losses to put them at 7-8, entering the final game of the season. This all comes down to 1 game, and the Steelers once again beat the Browns. Every time I've mentioned the Browns in this video, the Steelers were winning. Thaddeus Lewis versus Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, that's your guys' pick. I'll take Big Ben personally. Steelers go ahead in the third quarter, never look back, 24-10 win, 8-8 in 2012. And one more to mention while we're here, 2009, the Steelers are 6-7 with 3 games left. They need to win 2 out of 3. All the Browns fans out there, I will mention a time that you guys did beat the Steelers. Brady Quinn went 6 for 19 passing, and the Steelers lost to the Browns 13-6. Roethlisberger was sacked 8 times. That's what put the Steelers at 6-7 in a position where they needed to win 2 of the next 3. And it would start with a banger, a touchdown to Mike Wallace as time expires to beat the Packers 37-36 to put the Steelers at 7-7, where they now just needed to win 1 of the next 2 games. They beat the Ravens the following week as Jeff Reed nailed a game-winning field goal, and then the following week it didn't even matter because they had already clinched a winning season. They did beat the Dolphins though 30-24. So Mike Tomlin and the Steelers have definitely had a few close calls with losing seasons. You just heard some examples. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.